course, Úrsula Levy, La FM. Michael, welcome to Colombia. I have so many things to ask you. I don't even know where to start. I'd like to start by asking you to describe The Shrink Next Door. How would you describe it?
Um, The Shrink Next Door is a story about um, Marty Markowitz, who's played by Will Ferrell, who's a guy who's having trouble with his relationships. He's engaged to someone who the engagement isn't is falling apart, and he's depressed and he needs to go into therapy, and so he starts seeing a therapist played by Paul Rudd, and at first things are going really well between them, but slowly the relationship starts to take on a darker uh, quality to it because Paul Rudd's character kind of takes advantage of Will Ferrell's character's vulnerability, and it ends up spanning 30 years, and at the end of which the therapist has really taken over the patient's life. And so it's kind of a dark, twisted story, but it's also very funny, but also very moving. And it's about family and it's about friendship and um, it's about a lot of different things.
My mother was a shrink. I've been going to the shrink since I can remember. And it was very difficult for me to watch. I mean, to watch the story. It was, I mean, it really hurt everything that went on. Was it difficult for you to direct it?
Um, not in the if you mean like not in the way of that I was like experiencing, like I mean I think I feel bad for the character. I feel bad for Marty's character. I thought Will was really moving. Um, and I was in therapy for myself. Was in therapy for quite some time. Um, in a way, that's why I wanted to tell the story was because I want other people to see this story and say I'm not going to let that happen to me. I don't want that to happen to me. I mean, it's not about therapy. We're not here to say therapy is bad. It's not that at all. It's more, but it's more about uh, the way in which people manipulate each other and the way in which people take advantage of each other's vulnerabilities, and 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 so on that level, it is a hard story to watch, but it's also I think hopefully has sort of a happy ending.
How did you come across the story?
It's a podcast, this wonderful
Yes.
podcast company, Wondery, and I just listen to the podcast. I'm a fan of the podcasts, and we listen to the podcast. And sent the podcast to Paul Rudd and said, "Have you heard this?" And he listened to it right away. And then we said we should see if we can develop this into a TV show. And then simultaneously, Will Ferrell had been also listening to the podcast,
No
thinking the
way.
same thing. So it really started that way.
That is amazing. So you were
Yeah.
actually a fan of the podcast before and
Oh
you
yeah.
turned it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, I did not expect that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Yeah.
Michael. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you. It's
so
been
much.
great
Take
and
care.
I really enjoyed it. I hope everyone will.
Great. Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you so much. Great to meet you.
You too. Bye bye.
Take care.